we went to college together, and she's on field captaincy team.
You sound okay? Okay.
Hit it. Here's our shadow.
The lighting's great because we can't see our shadow. It's the kind of joke we're bringing.
Okay, it's all you.
I'll send it to you for starters.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Thunderdome here at Missisquoi Valley Union, where the MVU Thunderbirds are hosting the Mount Abraham Eagles in tonight's Lake Division boys basketball action. Thank you so much for watching Northwest Access TV. I'm Bryce Batchelder, joined this evening by John Nielsen. Before I give it over to John for the starters, let's take a moment to thank our community sponsors that make our live sports coverage possible. Splish Splash Clean and Clear, Northwestern Rehab Services, Notch Vermont, My Healthy Vermont, JC Image, Union Bank, Stone's Auto Repair, St. Albans, East Fairfield, and the Collins Pearly Sports and Fitness Center. If your business would like to help sponsor our live coverage, please reach out to Paul Snyder at Northwest Access TV or check out their website for more details, northwestaccess.tv. John, thank you for joining tonight.
Absolutely, Bryce.
Someone to talk to. Why don't you
Yes, it is quite lonely here with only one person, but here we go. All right, for the Mount Anthony team making the drive up Route 7 today, we got Ericine Griffin, Charlie Germone, Kyle Johnston, Cooper Cook, and Hayden Lutz. And for the home Thunderbirds, Drew Wood, Drew Taberge, Tabor Rich, Trayton Gardner, and Gavin Nichols.
Mount Abe controls the tip, get their first possession tonight. These two teams split the season series last year. First three-pointer no good for Charlie Germon. MVU won at Mount Abe. Mount Abe won here at MVU. See if we can turn that around this year a little bit. But before that was the first time MVU had beaten Mount Abe in about 5 years.
I can definitely see how that happens as MVU gets on the board here at Mount Anthony. These Eagles, you can go up and down the lineup, and if you take out a measuring tape, they're all pretty much the same size, length, which always is giving Coach Walker and his teams fits.
And some shooting as Hayden Lutz hits the first three for the game for the Eagles. We get a travel called on the Thunderbirds, so early tie ball game, 3-3, a three-pointer apiece, just over a minute in.
Mount Abe with their signature man-to-man defense to start the game very high, not allowing the front court players to get below the foul line to establish position early on.
Worth noting, Reed Myers for the Thunderbirds out tonight. So John, why don't you take us through some of the implications of him missing?
Certainly that does change Coach Walker and his staff's philosophy tonight, maybe just a tad. They are quite known for defense being quickly turned into offense with several types of full and three-quarter court presses. They feast on quick hands and forcing you to do things you wouldn't normally do as a ball handler. So there's needs to be some adjustments tonight with Nichols being the sole senior in the backcourt.
Thunderbirds somehow saved the possession. Tabor Rich getting down on the ground for it, and they draw the first foul of the game.
Very happy to see the officials here tonight. Very veteran staff. We do have Dan Shepperson, head of all of the Vermont officials.
Oh boy!
Things will be kept quite tight this evening.
Nothing but the best.
Yes.
That man a foul called number 23, Hayden Lutz. That's his first. Team's first. A great pass down to Tabor Rich. Has his first 2 points of the game. Put the Thunderbirds up 5-3 with about 5:45 to go in the first quarter.
That was a delicious dime from Nichols to Rich. We've said that many times over the course of this season and the last 3 seasons.
And that was some alluring alliteration that you just used on that one. That's why they put this crew on this.
That is true.
MVU foul on number 22, Gavin Nichols. That's his first, team's first. Three-pointer short, out of bounds, will go the Thunderbirds' way.
And with that short bench tonight, Coach Walker and his staff will have to be aware of foul trouble as we continue throughout this game. Not a very deep bench tonight.
Baseline jumper, no good for Nichols. Corralled by Griffin. Drive, kicks it back out to Griffin. Little pump fake. Met by 3 MVU coaxed him into the travel. MVU comes in tonight, 4 wins, 8 losses overall. They're 1-1 in the Lake Division. Currently stand at 3rd in the Lake. They're 12th in D2. Mount Abe, 5-5 overall, 2-0 in the Lake. They're on a 2-game win streak. They're 2nd in the Lake Division, I think by tiebreaker, but both Mount Abe and Virgins are 2-0 at the top of the division. They also currently sit at 7th in D2.
Yeah, MVU still trying to really find their identity as a team. A lot of ups and downs. Took them a long time to get their first win, but when they did, they ran off 3 in a row, then hit a little bit of a rough patch, a couple game losing streak, and then won last Friday night against Fairfax. So hopefully they righted the ship and are going to turn their season around here.
Big drive, unlucky bounce for Nichols. The steal by Drew Wood. Now stuck, guarded by Griffin. Eventually kicks it back out. Now Rich pulls up from 3, no good. Rebounded by Thunderbird, but ball taken away by Johnson.
As with any team, you love to have those pesky guards giving fits to those big guys. So it's important to keep the ball above your shoulders when you get that rebound. You always have those guards coming to take the ball away. Just a point of interest and a point of notice. Coach Walker needs to tell his forwards.
You know, John, you brought up kind of the slow start from the Thunderbirds, but starting to turn it on lately. They did start the season 0-6, but they've been 4-2 in their last 6 games, so slowly making up ground. Offense playing a little bit better in that time. They're averaging 4 more points per game over that 4-2 stretch. In their own 6 start, they averaged 42.3 per game. Now they're averaging 46.3 over their 4-2 stretch, so a little bit of improvement here.
Yeah, I think there was an awakening moment where seniors just took it upon themselves to put everything on their back scoring-wise because they are the engine of this team, and if they go, then the team goes. So that was certainly a sight for sore eyes for Coach Walker to make sure their season is what they want it to be.
Tabor Rich goes 2 for 2 from the line. He now has 4 points. Thunderbirds up 7-3. Halfway through the first quarter, long 3 up and off for Lutz.
Long rebounds are the gray hair on a coach's head a lot of times.
Drive to his left by Griffin. Draws the foul. I think will be called on Josh Young. That's his first. Team's second.
With a lot of changes in the MVU lineup, a lot of the bench has been called upon to play more minutes.
Baseline jumper good for Hayden Lutz. He has all 5 points for the Eagles so far. Little over 3.5 left in the opening quarter. MVU up 7-5. Content passing around. Now down low. They didn't hit the layup, but that's the advantage of having 4 guys around the 3-point line. So much space in the middle.
The space allowed Nichols to run into those gaps to find himself with an empty shot on the block.
Loose ball somehow found Harrison Griffin. He scores his first points. Tie ball game, 7 apiece. Seemed like just 20 seconds ago, 7-3.
Turnovers can change the game in an instant in high school basketball.
Stifling zone defense by the Eagles off the foot of Cooper Cook. Tabor Rich holding his nose. Looks like he took a little shot on the double team.
He's been nursing a bunch of little nagging injuries over the course of this season as well, and with a little disarray in the offense there in the last couple of possessions, Coach Walker wants to talk it over.
And we'll get our first timeout of the game. Take this moment to also thank Northwestern Counseling and Support Services and the Afterglow Foundation. The 2 organizations have been working to prevent suicide deaths in our community. If you are concerned about yourself or a loved one, there are people in our community that can help. Reach out to NCSS 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on its confidential emergency services line. 802-524-6554, then press 1. Or you can always call or text 988. One call, text, or chat could save a life. All tied up at 7 in the first quarter. Give you some of the scoring leaders early on in the game. Tabor Rich leading the Thunderbirds with 4 points. Gavin Nichols with 3. And for the Eagles, Hayden Lutz leading all players in the game so far with 5, and Harrison Griffin with 2. Notice the Eagles, John, kind of switching back and forth between their man-to-man and their zone.
And that's just good coaching, never allowing the offense to feel confident or feel settled in what they're doing. If you're constantly changing things up, you are going to cause some kind of havoc somewhere.
Long three, nails it. Gavin Nichols now with 6 points, puts the Thunderbirds up 10-7, 2:40 left in the first quarter.
There's that three-quarter court, just not necessarily a trapping press, but just makes decisions you wouldn't normally make.
Absolutely. Paid off that time for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
Eagles going to match the Thunderbirds with their own three-quarter court press.
Some rules of thought or some coaches' philosophies is if you are a pressing team, that if you want to turn over, you press the other team and see how they react. So Thunderbirds able to handle that press early on, see if they continue with it.
From the press right back into the zone defense. A good move by Drew Wood, a little step through his defenders, lays it in, his first points of the evening. Thunderbirds up 12-7, 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
And Drew Wood, a junior here on the squad, seeing more and more minutes as this season goes along. Showed a lot of patience on that possession, didn't get frazzled, and made the right decision.
Baseline drive now, kicks it out middle of the key. I think Cook went up for the shot, sort of thought better of it midway out the jump, but still had to let go of the ball. Rich looking around, now back up to Nichols. A little confusion that time with the offense between him and Submerge.
Here, where the changing of defenses puts ball handlers in a very precarious position. If you're a forward and not used to having the ball out in the perimeter and they're changing defenses constantly, you now need to start thinking about that. And sometimes thinking is your worst enemy when you're playing basketball.
MV foul on number 15, Drew Submerge. That's his first, team's third. It looks like he intended to throw the pass to Taberge. Taberge came up intending to set the screen. Just a little miscommunication on that time. But certainly something that they can work out between plays.
Absolutely. I know we're at mid-season, but they're still working out those, all right, here where I'm supposed to be in one certain situation, and everybody's getting to know what they feel comfortable doing and in terms of moves and where they should be on the court. So it's still a work in progress, even at the 10-game mark.
Still get their own rebound. Hey, that's a net +1 over making all the 2 free throws. Hayden Lutz has 8 points. 8 of the Eagles' 10 points. Now only trailing by 2 with a minute to go in the opening quarter.
He has certainly come to play tonight.
Certainly has. The question is, will others of his teammates join him?
And perhaps that is why the coach just called a timeout. Martin Clark calling that timeout just to get his guys on the same page. Mount Abe is a notoriously team-oriented club, and you don't necessarily see one guy scoring all of the points. They try to distribute it between multiple players, so defenses cannot lock in on one guy or two guys. If they can spread the ball around, everybody becomes a threat.
Absolutely. MVU coming off their win at BFA Fairfax on Friday, a thrilling 46-43 win. BFA Fairfax tried to mount a comeback, couldn't quite get over the hump, but Gavin Nichols with a great game, 24 points.
Yeah, their defense certainly stood tall in the first half, only allowing 6 points in the first half to Fairfax, and give Fairfax credit. They certainly put things together a little bit more. Maybe if they had a couple more minutes, they could have made the entire comeback, but time did run out on their night.
30 seconds to go in the first quarter. MVU an opportunity for one more possession. Along to try to hold it. We'll get Harrison Griffin.
That looks like a point of interest, too, from the Eagles with Reed Myers being out. They're putting extra pressure on Nichols and anybody else who may not necessarily be a ball handler in this T-Bird lineup.
Griffin's first foul, team's third, 15 seconds. Drive to strike, Gavin Nichols lost his footing, but Thunderbirds keep it. A 15-10, one more heave, that one's off the iron. The Thunderbirds go into the first break, up by 5, 15-10 over the Mount Abraham Eagles.
Great to see from Max Bear, the kid who may not get a lot of playing time, but gives his ultimate effort every minute, every second he's on the floor. And you love to see good things happen to kids like that who work hard every single day in practice. May not get the most playing time, but taking advantage of their opportunity.
Scoring leader so far in the game. You've already heard us mention his name quite a few times. Hayden Lutz from Mount Abe, leading all scorers in the game with 8. Harrison Griffin also chipping in 2. And for the Thunderbirds, Gavin Nichols with 6 points, leading his team. Tabor Rich with 4. Max Bear with 3, and Drew Wood with 2.
So several contributions from different players tonight, and that's going to have to be the name of the game from here on out, rest of the season, for Coach Walker and his squad. If, again, sickness, injuries, this is a 8-person bench, 8-person squad. So any positives, any contributions from hopefully anybody on the bench is going to be beneficial.
Well, MVU averages 44.3 points per game. They allow 51.25 points per game, which is just about what Mount Abe averages at 51.8 points per game. So some of this will have to be MVU just stepping up their defense tonight. And on a shortened rotation, I think oftentimes defense is the thing that starts to slip as you get more tired.
Absolutely. So that's where, again, defense and being cognizant of foul situations and how that is managed throughout the game is going to be key. Perhaps even a foul shooting contest as we come down to the end.
And I think Coach Walker, too, on his side, he'll definitely have to think about how he's going to manage his timeouts tonight to be able to give his players rest at key moments.
Absolutely. That's why coaches get paid the big bucks.
And why we don't.
We do it for the love of the game.
Mount Abe taking their time on this possession, throwing it around the three-point line. Griffin up top. Thought about the three, then Johnston drives, kicks it back out. Griffin to his left, blocked by Drew Wood.
Excellent ball movement by the Eagles, spreading out the Thunderbirds. Quick passes on the weak side, trying to get into the paint. But Drew Wood there and doing his best. Victor Wembanyama as anyone could in the high school level.
As someone who's 5'8", I don't know what that's like. I know it's like to be blocked.
Okay.
Even still. Griffin moves over to Johnston. Let's finding a cutter down low. Jake Prouty, his first points of the game. Brings the Eagles back within 3, trailing 12-15, 6:20 to go in the second quarter.
We do see John Tanner in for the first time. splitting duties between the JV and varsity here for the last couple of games.
Good anticipation from Hayden Lutz with the steal. Now hands it over to Griffin. Good recovery from Trenton Gardner. Just to beat Griffin to the block. Pass down low.
John Tanner with his first touch of the ball of the game. Took his eye off the ball just a second and creates that turnover. Eagles not afraid to shoot it when they've got the look. Like to see the Thunderbirds kind of tighten that up a little bit on the perimeter.
They certainly have not been afraid. Same with the JV Mount 18. The one thing I noticed watching the JV game, you get a block called on Tabor Rich. Matt Walker agreeing with the call after Rich looked over at him, giving him some encouragement. But Mount 8, I think it's just something that goes through the whole program, varsity to JV, just let it fly.
Absolutely. And that kind of culture, that kind of climate is to benefit your program no matter what grade level. If you know what the system is and what you need to work on, that makes your system on a whole that much better.
Right on time, Kyle Johnston, 2 threes in a row. Now at 6 points. It gives the Eagles their first lead of the game. 18-15, 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Over to Tanner in the corner. Tanner swings at one more to Nichols. Now down to Rich. Rich turns. Strong take with the floater. He has 6 points.
Tabor Rich finding the soft spot in that zone. Did a nice job flashing to the high post. That's where the soft spot is.
Tabor Rich knocks the ball from behind. Ends up in Gavin Nichols' hands and ends up in the hoop. Nichols with 8 points. MVU takes the lead back up 19-18. 4.5 to go in the first half.
There's that defense to being turned into quick offense we talked about at the start.
Another three. That one's no good for Prouty. Rebounded by the Thunderbirds.
Terberge high on that rebound.
Nichols slowly walking it up the court, trying to set up their offense, but I'm sure a little bit of energy preservation here too. Travel called on Tabor Rich in the key.
I like to see Tabor take a little more time getting possession, waiting for that double team to come, and then looking opposite to see there's definitely going to be a man open. And instead of turning the ball over, you could have gotten an easy hoop on the other side. So just something to him to work on.
Drives through the key, kicks out. Johnston, another one.
He's found the spot.
He sure has. Coach Walker going to have to talk about what his perimeter defense needs to look like. Puts the Eagles back on top, 21-19. Johnston has 9 points. He's hit 3 out of the last 4 threes. Corner 3 for MVU. Gardner answers right back. His first points. MVU back on top, 22-21. 3:23 to go in the second quarter.
So we've kind of hit the midpoint here in the second quarter. Things are starting to open up a little bit more for both squads.
Three-pointer, no good. MVU ends up with the rebound. Here comes Gavin Nichols, a little out of control, eventually gathers. Rich down low to Tanner. Tanner with the turn. Is the right look. A little unlucky on the shot, but the right look.
Absolutely. Ball gets worked around, gets into the post, exactly what Coach Walker wants to see.
Lutz all the way down the right side of the key. The first player in double figures tonight with 10 points. Mount Abe on top, 23-22. 42 left in the second.
That last basket is a pure result of Lutz's, after he's from the outside, Teber's having him come out and challenge that shot and close out, and able to get inside and get a easier, more high percentage shot inside.
Now we asked who's going to be the team member from the Eagles to sort of step up the scoring along with Hayden Lutz. It's clearly been Kyle Johnston hitting 3 threes. Long 2, foot on the line, no good for Young. Another Thunderbird foul.
Drew Wood caught on the wrong side of his man, having to reach over the back, and that's going to be, I believe, 2 for Drew. No, I'm sorry, that's only his first.
Just the first on Drew Wood. That's the team's second in the second quarter. Travel called on the Eagles. Noting fouls, there haven't been a ton called. The flow of the game so far has been really great.
Right, and I think that flow, along with certainly on the MVU sides, coaches kind of pressing the point of, all right, we're not here to commit a lot of fouls. We're not stealing a lot tonight. We're keeping our defenders in front of us, and we're just going to play tough defense and not to take too many chances.
2:15 left in the quarter. Long pass ends up with Bearer. Three-pointer up, good for Gavin Nichols.
Baseline cut coming around for Gavin Nichols. Tickles the twine on the other side.
MVU up by 2, which over the last few minutes we've seen, that feels like a huge amount.
And it just feels like there should be more than 25-23.
The drive, sweeping layup. Jake Prouty off target. Nichols will bring it up for the Thunderbirds. Nichols, the first Thunderbird in double digits. He has 11 points. Now actually leads all scorers in the game. Tight defense out top to Drew Wood. Wise timeout called by Coach Matt Walker. With 1:27 to go in the second quarter, Thunderbirds lead the Eagles 25-23.
With that short bench for Coach Walker as well, he needs to be aware of his guys' stamina and if they're staying fresh as much as possible. So that's already 2 timeouts that Coach Walker has used in this first half. That becomes more like gold in the second half now, as he manages fouls and the freshness of his guys.
I think too, strategically calling it toward the end of the quarter. We've done a little breather, knowing in 1:27 they're also going to have halftime, so another chance to get some rest. So
I've known Coach. Yeah, absolutely. And Coach Walker has done that for years when he has not necessarily had the squad that he has this year, and he's had to save minutes and save players. So he's no stranger to this game plan.
Gavin Nichols is going to set up the offense for the Thunderbirds. Rich now looking around, guarded by Cook. Goes down low to Carr. There, a nice strong take. I think a little more open than he expected. A little strong. Put it up to the basket. Atkins. Eagles swing it around. Baseline jumper. Griffin. Griffin now with 4 points. Ties the game at 25. 45 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Good decision on Griffin. Take what the defense has given him, not necessarily have to resort on a 3-pointer. You got closer and had a 10-footer.
Cutting over on the left side, Drew Wood gets stuck but passes the ball out. Up top to Rich. Rich's shot no good. Moves on to Bear, kicks it out to Gardner. 20 seconds to go. MVU can take their time here. Hold for the final shot. 15 seconds now. Rich. Ground. And we'll get a foul called on the Eagles. First team foul for Mount Abe. Called with 8.4 seconds left in the quarter. Called on number 14, Kyle Johnston. That's his first. So 8.4 seconds remaining. Trenton Gardner will inbound the ball from the baseline. MVU lining up on the blocks. Bounce pass. Right back to him. 5 seconds. Here's Rich. Rich turns across the lane. And that will do it for the first half. MVU heads into the locker room at 27-25 over the Mount Abraham Eagles. We'll take a break. Myself, Bryce Batchelder, and John Nielsen will be back on the other side of halftime. Stay with us on Northwest Access TV.
You get an earful over here. Hey.
You're good.
Really?
Yeah.
Marge didn't have any in her truck?
Yeah, I do have trouble with my truck.
Marge might have some.
Check.
How we doing, Dennis? You do okay?
Check.
Okay.
Good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
I should have never been here before, and I turned the wrong way off the interstate. That's why I ended up late. I was heading to toward Ace, and I was like, no, this is.
Where do you live? Milton? Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, so I mean that's not too bad getting to MVU or BFA. Oh, got it. Gotcha. So are you from around here originally? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually where I went to high school. Yeah, no, so I grew up in Swanton. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and this is where my kids are gonna end up too. So it's yeah, yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, grew up in Swanton, live in Franklin now with a little pit stop in the Boston area for about 8 years. Came back to get married. My wife is also from here. We were sort of like, we either want to live right in the middle of a city, which was way too expensive, or we want to live in the middle of nowhere. So we picked middle of nowhere. Sure is. But like, we're on Main Street, so we're in the city of Franklin. City. Which is 1 square block. We joke because we're not right on that block that we're actually in the suburbs. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, really? Yep. Still waiting for cell service at my house. Who knows if it'll ever come.
Grand total of 4 foul shots in that first half.
Take it. A well-moving game.
I don't want to curse it. It would certainly slow things down in the second half. But that's what Fairfax did on Friday night.
Really?
It was like the 3-minute.
Almost worked. All right. Yeah. Come back at a minute. So in 12 seconds. Dennis, you good with that?
Welcome back to the Thunderdome here at Missisquoi Valley Union. The Thunderbirds lead the Mount Abraham Eagles 27-25. We've got a good game for you. I hope it stays this way in this second half. My name is Bryce Batchelder with John Nielsen. Thanks for watching Northwest Access TV. Let's take a quick moment to thank our community sponsors that make our live sports coverage possible. Splish Splash Clean and Clear, Northwestern Rehab Services, Notch Vermont, My Healthy Vermont, JC Image, Union Bank, Stone's Auto Repair, St. Albans East Fairfield, and the Collins Pearly Sports and Fitness Center. If your business would like to help sponsor our live coverage, please reach out to Paul Snyder at Northwest Access TV. Check out their website for more details, northwestaccess.tv. Mount Abe. going to start with possession here in the third quarter. Solid defense from MVU. Thunderbird ends up with the loose ball. What were some of your big takeaways from the first half, John?
Well, certainly it was a speedy first half. I was going to say it was a defensive first half, but really wasn't. It's certainly a very open game. Not a lot of fouls to stop the action, so hoping for this more of the same here in the second half.
Charlie German got the scoring started, ties the game at 27 with 45 seconds in. Tabor Rich saw the ball just underneath Johnston, just reached his hands in there and took it.
Such a strong kid. Nothing fears him.
He could certainly beat me in arm wrestling.
Okay.
Rich drives, kicks it out. Nichols, the slight pump fake, but caught in the corner, throws the ball away. Johnston got in the way of the pass, knocks it.
That's certainly jail for anybody in that corner.
Hayden Lutz finishes off the play. He has 12 points. Gives the Eagles the lead once again, 29-27. MVU still looking for their first points of the quarter.
Looks like a little matchup zone-ish from Mount Abe coming out of halftime. Try to take away any kind of three-point threats that the T-Birds might be throwing at them. They did have several threes in the first half. Not a lot of inside work, so just trying to force the Thunderbirds to take it inside the first couple minutes.
Rich, a nice pivot. Gets himself enough space to put that shot up. Drops in off the back iron. He has 8 points, ties it at 29.
Good patience by Rich, not forcing that.
And Johnston playing a ton of denial defense on him on that last defensive stand. Shouldn't say stand, because MVU scored on the last defensive effort, I'll say.
And there was a lot of effort on that.
You know, words matter, John. Words matter.
Absolutely. Hopefully people are listening.
We'll never know, as that shot too long for Drew Wood. And Lutz kicks it to the corner. Baseline jumper for German. That one too strong. MVU, they're getting the rebounds. They're bringing the ball down. Mount Abe getting a lot of the slapping the ball away. Even if MVU's still able to recover, it's just something that Thunderbirds really have to watch out for here.
Eagles very tenacious defensively, not making it easy to get the ball on a post or anywhere.
Rich double teamed on that one. Thunderbird just too strong. Gets his first points of the evening. MVU now up 31-21. Matt Walker after the BFA Fairfax game, talking about Drew Thunderbird to the St. Albans Messenger. He said he played his best game of the season. He rebounds hard, he played well, contributes everything for them. Credit goes to Ian Magnet for the article, but Matt Walker, just a lot of great things to say about Drew Thunderbird and the work he does.
Drew Thunderbird uses every ounce of ability that he has on the court, steals, rebounds. He's finding a little bit of confidence in himself as well, and we've seen some benefits of that the last couple of games.
Possession stays with the Eagles. Johnston gonna pull up again. He was hot in the first half. That time too short. Tabor Rich just saying no one else is getting this ball but me.
Absolutely. He's just tenacious, would not be denied that rebound.
Little pump fake from Gavin Nichols. To Burge now at the free throw line. Now setting the screen for Nichols. Opts the handoff to Rich instead. MVU taking their time. Look underneath behind the defense. Drew Wood is sitting there. But MVU not forcing the issue now. An open three-pointer, no good for Trenton Gardner.
No, but I like that patience on MVU.
Absolutely.
What we don't want is a foul in the backcourt for no apparent reason.
Narrow lead, only 7 active players. Well, 8, but a super short rotation. This second half is now where you really try to slow down that pace, preserve your energy, and bleed the clock as much as possible. Make this game as short as possible. Drew Wood the second personal foul.
Quick
First
hands
team.
though by Rich, causing that turnover. Again, the Thunderbirds just a little bit off tonight without Reed Myers. Those turnovers are usually quicker points. MVU trying to do their best. Kemper. Oh.
So now with I'll say 4-point lead. So I mean,
Kemper Tien coming off the bench, first minutes, seconds of the game, scores for the Thunderbirds, but then gets the loose ball. Mount A not waiting for the defense for MVU to get caught up on that transition and took it right to the basket, and Cook earning himself 2 foul shots at the line.
Drew Traberge's second personal. Team second. 3:04 remaining.
Coach Clark wanting to talk things over here. 3:04 to go, third quarter.
So we'll take this moment during the timeout to thank Northwestern Counseling and Support Services and the Afterglow Foundation. The two organizations have been working to prevent suicide deaths in our community. If you are concerned about yourself or a loved one, there are people in our community that can help. Reach out to NCSS 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on this confidential emergency services line. 802-524-6554, then press 1. Or you can always call or text 988. One call, text, or chat could save a life. Scoring leaders so far, Gavin Nichols leads the Thunderbirds with 11 points. Tabor Rich with 8. For the Eagles, Hayden Lutz leads all players in the game with 12. He and Gavin Nichols have sort of been going back and forth with who holds that title of leading scorer in the game. But Kyle Johnston also with 9 hit those 3 out of 4 three-pointers all in the second quarter.
This is usually about the time Coach Walker, after a timeout, will usually let us guys know, all right, so after a made basket, we might throw a little something different defensively at them, create those turnovers in the backcourt to maybe create some separation here. Lead's only 4, so no lead is safe for tonight.
Nichols starting the offense, uses the screen from Drew Wood. Now down low to Nichols. Ball poked away. There comes Kamara. Loses the ball. Eagles somehow recover. Griffin. Now Prouty, guarded by Rich. Traberge with excellent help side defense there on the low block to stop the drive. Cross-court pass. Go to Prouty now. Kicks it up to Griffin. Griffin driving on Wood. A patient possession for the Eagles. Three-pointer no good. Johnson with the offensive rebound. Saves the ball all the way up to Griffin. And the Eagles are going to start this thing all over. Instead, Griffin pulls up. Mid-range jumper ends up hitting the basket support. That's out of bounds. A long possession for the Eagles.
Good defensive stance by the Thunderbirds, not giving too much away. Eagles tried to make some drives inside, but Drew Traberge solid, along with the other Thunderbird defenders.
Griffin was taking his time getting off the court. The play had started before he was off. Kind of wondering if the officials would end up calling too many people on on the court. Ended up letting it go, which, I mean, I'm just fine with. Keep the game going.
The Thunderbirds are not too unfamiliar with that Friday night, as they were called for too many men on the court as well. So hopefully they have cleared up that confusion and nothing like that can happen again.
Lutz, another three, that one short. Nichols with the rebound. Pushing ball up to Rich, finds Young. Young pulls up, baseline jumper, nails it.
Great
Young's
pass.
first points of the evening.
Great pass from Rich, draws a lot of attention, gives other people opportunity to contribute and score.
Tabor Rich had about 3 Eagles defenders right next to him. Found the open player, Josh Young. MVU up 35-30, under a minute left. Baseline jumper too strong. Johnston, bring up 45 seconds to go in the third quarter. Kamara not able to handle the ball. Out of bounds to the Thunderbirds. 43.2 seconds remaining in the quarter.
It would probably be wise for Thunderbirds to take the final shot in this situation, not give the Eagles another possession to try to cut into their lead.
Gavin Nichols brings the ball up. Young in the corner, back up to Nichols. 30 seconds here. MVU not maybe making a move to the basket quite yet, looking to bleed the clock.
They need to be careful on the, don't need to get the ball in the corners, would create a trap situation.
15 seconds, corner three, up. Off for Gavin Nichols.
A little too much time left on the clock, but Nichols with a steal.
Nichols, strong take, unlucky bounce off the back of the iron. Offensive rebound, 1 second to go. Trenton Gardner doesn't get the ball up in time, but at the end of 3, MVU leads Mount Abe 35-30.
Certainly a defensive quarter. Not a lot of points scored in that corner. Only 8 by the Thunderbirds and 5 by the Eagles. So there was definitely some discussion about defense at halftime from both squads, picking up the intensity, limiting scores, limiting those outside shots that we saw quite readily in the first half. So these last 8 minutes should be very interesting, and it doesn't seem like anybody's in too much foul trouble, if any. So we should see both complete teams from here on out.
Yep, no foul trouble so far. Folks with the most fouls, Drew Wood and Drew Zamerge each with 2. So plenty of margin for error here with MVU. Almost to the point where you might think about, if things are getting down, you're not close to the bonus level. Would Matt Walker consider telling his team to take some fouls just to slow things down and give his team a breather here and there?
Absolutely, he would, and he's been pretty masterful the last few games of using the right guys to foul if they need to save others, just to hold them off towards the end of the game if need be. So he's been pretty masterful the last couple of games, making sure he puts the right people in the right situations.
MVU starts the quarter with possession. John, you mentioned the scoring last quarter, only 8-5 in favor of MVU. Polar opposite of what the first half was. MVU scored 15 and 12 in the first 2 quarters, respectively. Mount Abe 10 and 15, respectively.
So I think there's a level of patience, plus there's a level of defensive intensity being adamant from their coaches that they know it's going to be a close game and every possession counts.
And a strong take from Ethan Chase. He draws the foul. He'll go to the line for 2.
Great give and go from the Eagles, trying to catch the T-Birds ball watching and caught them a little slow on their defensive rotation.
MVU foul on number 21, Trenton Gardner. That's his first. His first. And Hayden Lutz hits the front end. Goes 2 for 2 from the line. He has 14 points. Brings the Eagles within 3, trailing 32-35. About a minute into the fourth quarter. MVU once again trying to slow things down. Unless it's transition, not looking to make any quick movements to the basket with their half-court offense.
So it looks like Eagles have gone into a shell situation with Gavin Nichols being face guarded everywhere he goes on the court.
Long pass from Josh Young, picked off.
Like a boxing one.
Layup, no good for Charlie German. But offensive rebound, Eagles keep it. Here's the drive from Lutz, strong take. Lutz gets another deuce, he has 16 points. Eagles only trailing by 1 now, 34-35, 6:15 to go in the fourth quarter.
We talk a lot about the T-Birds with their senior leadership. The Eagles leader, their senior leader, Lutz, stepping up big here tonight, taking the game on his shoulders. Hopefully try to pull out a win here.
Rich from the block, shot too strong, but he draws the foul. He'll go to the line for 2 free throws. Eagles foul called on number 20, Johnny Stanley. That's his first, team's first.
Eagles have really limited the T-Birds from getting to the line tonight. I believe that's only their 3rd foul shot, whereas they were well over 20 foul shots in the last game against Fairfax.
Wood and Suburge check back into the game for the Thunderbirds. I could have just said Drew checks back into the game and would have
covered
efficiency here, covered it.
Yeah.
Covered it all. Rich goes 1 for 2 from the line. He has 9 points. MVU up 36-34, just under 6 to go. Stanley in the middle, now to Johnston. Prouty. Eagles swinging the ball around now in the corner. Back up top.
T-Birds have made a little bit of an adjustment on defensively. They've now put Drew Wood with his length on Lutz to take away any kind of outside shots. On Kyle Johnston.
Charlie German with the three-pointer that hit about every part of the rim and the backboard before falling in. Gives the Eagles their first lead since the third quarter, up 37-36. Excuse me, I think since the second quarter, actually. About 5 minutes to go here. Trying to answer. That three for Nichols, no good. Rebounded by Lutz. Now the Eagles' turn to play with the lead and sort of slow things down a little bit. Uses the screen from Prouty. Pulls up for 3. Fadeaway 3, no good. Rebounded by Rich. Now Nichols driving into the key, kicks it to the corner. Rich pulls up. Nothing doing to Burge though, tracks down the offensive rebound. Nichols out to Gardner. Gardner drives, stops just outside the lane, kicks it back out, 4.5 left. To Burge up top. Drives to his left. A strong take, draws the foul inside the key. I think that will go on Charlie German.
A little piece of Drew Burge's game now that has evolved over the course of these last few games. In the first part of the season, he would not have done that. So a pleasant surprise for Coach Walker and giving those guys that opportunity, if they see that, to make that drive towards the basket, because 2 things are going to happen. Either you're going to make it or you're going to get fouled.
Burge hits the first free throw. Certainly not one of MVU's go-to scorers, but like you said, I mean, turning and just fully recognizing the lane and the matchup that he had, and just a great, strong take to the basket.
And it's going to have to be a all-hands-on-deck situation for the Thunderbirds, where you can't just focus on 2 guys scoring. It's got to have to be multiple people, and everybody has the opportunity. You just got to capitalize it when you're given that opportunity.
Burge 1 for 2 from the line, ties this game at 37, about halfway through the fourth quarter. Eagles looking to take the lead. The drive from Prouty. Foul called on Drew Taberge before the shot, so that is Taberge's third personal foul, team second.
If I'm the coach, if I'm Coach Walker, I can live with that foul. I could live with Drew making that foul out there, knowing that it was probably a sure 2 points with no rim protection behind him.
So Taberge now with 3 personals. Might have to think a little bit about how he plays defense as Charlie Germain nails a corner 3. He has 8 points, puts the Eagles up 40-37.
Yeah, the junior guard. It's not the most beautiful looking shot, but or textbook, but he makes it work for him.
Same amount of points, no matter what his form looks like.
Exactly.
And right now in this fourth quarter, Mount Abe is outscoring MVU 10-2.
So here that was a situation where Trenton's not usually a primary ball handler. It gets to a situation where he gets forced to make a decision, and unfortunately couldn't find the end result on that pass that he was looking for.
Corner 3 up that time. Doesn't fall for Charlie Germain. Possession goes to MVU. With that said, Eagles outscoring MVU 10-2 right now in this quarter. There's still 3:20 to go. It's still only a 3-point game. MVU has plenty of time to try to turn it around and go on their own scoring run.
Eagles, though, doing a nice job of not allowing second chance shots like that and not allowing MVU to get those quick turnovers turning into points as they are so accustomed to.
Well, the Eagles cutting down on MVU's offensive rebounds. Meanwhile, Eagles have been doing a great job on the offensive boards this quarter. Plenty of second chance opportunities. Here's the drive for Germain. He's fouled. That one, if it's on Taberge, that'll be his 4th.
Eagles go into a little bit of a weave situation up at the top of the key with a little handoff situation. Catches the Thunderbirds on their heels situation, able to let that attacker get into the lane, and Drew Taberge having to foul to stop this progression.
That is indeed Drew Taberge's 4th personal. He takes a seat on the bench. Harrison Griffin. The shot itself wasn't a floater. He looks like he was floating through the key.
He certainly took advantage of the space and did float. Not sure if there was a lot of contact there, but I guess just enough from the official to award him 2 foul shots.
Foul goes to Drew Wood. That's his 3rd personal. Team's 4th. So now the bonus situation plays into effect here for MVU. They're going to have to be really careful for the next minute or so, but also in perfect position if they decide that they need to play the foul game with, a minute or so left.
So that does put MVU's front court in foul trouble, and they really don't have a lot of options going to the bench. So both Drews need to be aware and be a little more cognizant of their body and what can be contested and what she just let go.
John, I appreciate that. I was calling out what was good about the foul situation. You were just like, no, Bryce.
As a coach, as a former coach, you have to have
both ways.
Think of all of these things, especially with a short bench, and knowing that he can't dip too far into his well. He's got to make sure he can maximize the people that he has on his court right now.
Josh Young, long 3. I'm not sure I've ever seen a ball bounce off the back of the rim and then go over the back of the backboard.
There's something new every game. It really is. So we're hitting the 2-minute mark now. So here comes a little bit of a press from MVU to try to create those turnovers, create some quick points if they can.
Now a 2-possession game. Mount Abe at 41-37. Foul called on Josh Young.
And that's the game plan. That's a situation where those fouls are okay from a coaching point of view of stopping the clock, because we're getting to the realm of the clock being the most the biggest enemy now for MVU or whoever is behind here. So they need to be precious with every minute or every second that they have. So stopping the clock can be your friend.
Wood and Gardner check out.
Here's where
Deanna
coach is
Tanner,
saving those kids for the last couple of minutes. You may see an offense for defense substitution soon.
Griffin 1 for 2 from the line, has 6 points. Mount Abe now up by 5. They have mounted a comeback here. This has essentially been a 10-point swing in this quarter alone. Ball poked away from Rich. Here come the Eagles. Timeout called by Coach Martin Clark. And we'll take this moment to thank our community sponsors that make our live sports coverage possible. Splish Splash Clean and Clear, Northwestern Rehab Services, Notch Vermont, My Healthy Vermont, JC Image, Union Bank, Stone's Auto Repair, St. Albans East Fairfield, and the Collins Pearly Sports and Fitness Center. If your business would like to help sponsor our live coverage, please reach out to Paul Snyder at Northwest Access TV. Check out their website for more details, northwestaccess.tv. So the foul situation right now for MVU, Drew Converge playing with 4 personals, Drew Wood with 3, Josh Young with 2.
Mount Abe.
Nobody with Mount Abe.
Nobody from Mount Abe, and Mount Abe is certainly showing their grit, showing their experience with their seniors on the floor of being very patient, and they have only allowed 2 points this quarter to the Thunderbirds. So they really seized control here, and at this point, 5 points may not seem like a huge deficit, but the flow of the game makes it feel like it's a big deficit. And again, every possession is going to be like gold here in the last minute 44.
Well, and with how tight this game has been, 5 points has been the largest lead for both teams, right?
Yes.
And so that does feel like a huge deficit to try to overcome, but also in a short rotation, here's a turnover. Rich finding Nichols, a little too far underneath the basket.
That was the turnover they were looking for.
Jermon can't connect with Stanley. Here comes Nichols. Minute 15 to go. Rich in the corner. Takes himself into the lane. A pull-up jumper off target. Rebounded by Lutz. And Lutz speeding up the court. Kicks it to the corner. Coach Clark with his hands on his head telling
You were great. You were open all right. So here's where MVU needs to start making some decisions. We're under a minute. You've got to score. You've got to get into your press. You've got to get the ball back again. If it means fouling, you've got to foul.
2-possession game. 50 seconds to go. Tabor Rich. Turnaround jumper short. Tanner, no good with the follow. Had an opportunity. Ends up getting called for the foul. And not to use this as an excuse, but when you have a short rotation like MVU's had to have this game, and it's been a close game, they've had to lead for most of it, it makes sense that it's in the 4th quarter when they get a little tired and the scoring and the defense doesn't quite go your way.
And you're also coming into, as further down the bench you go, and with a shorter bench, you're getting players with maybe not a lot of experience in those tight situations. They become a little bit flustered. And those easy shots that everyone thinks are easy, everybody gets a little bit tighter. Things aren't followed through with as easily as they would in the first quarter. it's a tough situation coming in under a minute, not having a lot of varsity experience.
Johnny Stanley goes 2 for 2 from the line. Rich throws up a heave, out of bounds to the Eagles, or rather stays with the Thunderbirds, but I will say I think those 2 free throws just about iced it for the Eagles.
It could. We have only 2 people have really touched the ball here in the last couple minutes on the offensive end, and Thunderbirds need to get a little more creative about who the ball is going to.
Another turnover, just under 30 seconds now. Timeout called by Coach Clark to settle his team down. Well, we'll give you the next 2 games for both of these teams. MVU next plays on Friday. They got to travel all the way down to Virgins. And then they play next Wednesday, the 5th. Still traveling, but not quite as far, only to Milton that time. And for Mount Abe, their next 2, they got a quick turnaround here. Next 2 games, they play Thursday versus Middlebury, and then Saturday at Winooski. So only getting 1 day in between each of these games.
We are in the dog days of the last 3 weeks of the season. It's going to be a mad dash for everyone in this division. I still think it is up for grabs for anyone to take. Mount Abe looks like they may come out on the top for this game, but that does not by any means mean that Missisquoi is out of the race to hopefully put some wins together here and make it competitive towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, Missisquoi, so they would, if this result holds the last 25 seconds, they would fall to 1 and 2 in the lake. Mount Abe would essentially take the top spot by a half game right now over Virgins. They'd be 3-0, but still, the difference between 3-0 and 1 and 2 is not necessarily a big difference.
Absolutely not.
So there's still time.
Exactly, and that's what Coach Walker's going to have to reiterate to his players too, that every loss is a learning opportunity. And it's how you respond to those adversities, and hopefully you can build on this and take some positives away from it and move on to the next game. So you remember, you got to have that short memory and just move on to the next practice tomorrow.
And these teams will play again in just a couple weeks. Play again on February 13th at Mount Abe. So MVU making the trip down to Bristol. Long 3, no good. Offensive rebound from John Tanner, the sophomore, playing double duty JV and varsity, a strong move. He has 4 points, which is excellent for a player who is splitting time between
absolutely,
JV and
yeah. The confidence from Coach Walker and his coaching staff, seeing that the positives he's been doing, having on JV, contributions he's been making. That is certainly starting to permeate as he's been spending more time on the varsity squad, getting more reps, and feeling more confident in being put in these situations. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be clean all the time. And he's got to walk away from tonight saying, okay, I did some good things I still need to work on, and that's all part of becoming the player that you want to be. So he's using the opportunities to get better. So both him and Kemper. So the future is going to be bright for MVU.
That's great. Scoring leaders as we likely finish up this game with just about 15 seconds to go. Hayden Lutz leads all players with 16 points. Charlie Germond with 10 and Kyle Johnson with 9. For the Thunderbirds, Gavin Nichols leads his team with 11. Tabor Rich with 9.
Offense seems just to be a little off sync here in the last 3 or 4 minutes. A lot of just one and dones with not a lot of offensive rebounds for the Thunderbirds, not able to get second chance points. But they've been scrappy. They are trying to find ways to win, and it might be a little too late, but again, every situation is a learning situation, and you play out the entire game.
Yep, and at this point, not likely that MVU would mount to come back and win, but they're still fouling, and I think from a coaching perspective, you can't really replicate the situation in practice. So you use these opportunities to try to get your players experience doing a specific tactic.
Correct. And we talked about it. We've had a couple guys in foul trouble late in the game, but they're going to make it through to the end of the game. So it's about management on the coaches' sides. It's about being confident and being cognizant as a player of what I can do in certain situations and not do too much and just do what I can, and hopefully it's enough in that situation.
I think that's 17 for Lutz tonight. Harrison Griffin is stepping in, intercepting the pass, and a foul on Gavin Nichols.
Yeah, Tabor got a little looking exactly where he wanted to pass it. Didn't give any kind of fakes and making it easy for the defender to step in and to get that steal.
So Griffin gets 2 free throws after a little confusion here about when the substitution comes in. Now John Tanner will check in for Tabor Rich. Rich with a heck of an effort tonight. Griffin goes 1 for 2 with 7 points. Tanner blocked in the corner, and that will do it. Mount Abe storms from behind in the 4th quarter to win this 48-39. So MVU will fall to 4-9 on the season, 1-2 in the Lake Division. Mount Abe will improve to 6-5 overall, 3-0 in the Lake Division. They extend their win streak to 3 games. John, what are your big takeaways coming out of this one?
Well, certainly Reed Myers missed tonight. Certainly that dynamic guard that he is showed that hole was just too big to climb out of without him tonight. They weren't able to get into really any kind of flow offensively, and there was just too long of a stretch of time in the 3rd quarter leading into the 4th quarter of not a lot of points being scored on the T-Bird side, and it just put them the backs against the wall, not able to kind of, like I said, dig out of that hole and find some other scorers beyond Nichols and Rich tonight. A few other, certainly some contributions from the Thunderbirds, which is good to see, and hopefully they can take those positives towards their next game.
Absolutely. Before we send it out, let's take a moment to thank our community sponsors that make our live sports coverage possible. Splish Splash, Clean and Clear, Northwestern Rehab Services, Notch Vermont, My Healthy Vermont, JC Image, Union Bank, Stone's Auto Repair, St. Albans East Fairfield, and the Collins Pearly Sports and Fitness Center. If your business would like to help sponsor our live coverage, please reach out to Paul Snyder at Northwest Access TV. Check out their website for more details, northwestaccess.tv. We'd also like to thank Northwestern Counseling and Support Services and the Afterglow Foundation. The 2 organizations have been working to prevent suicide deaths in our community. If you are concerned about yourself or a loved one, there are people in our community that can help. Reach out to NCSS 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on his confidential emergency services line, 802-524-6554, then press 1. Or you can always call or text 988. One call, text, or chat could save a life. Again, MVU falls to the Mount Abraham Eagles by a score of 39-48. Thank you to Dennis, our videographer this evening. Thank you for tuning in. You've been watching Northwest Access TV. I've been Bryce Batchelder, and he's been John Nielsen.
All night I've been John Nielsen.
And hopefully tomorrow night as well.
And hopefully as well.
We'll see you next time.